Here's something I'm really looking forward to as the weather turns cooler. Football games, maple cinnamon lattes, and slipping into a cozy sweater from Quince. All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% off less than similar brands. That includes beautiful leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim, and so much more, you guys. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. And of course, premium fabrics and finishes for that luxury feel in every piece. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen me wear my new pieces from Quince, the 100% European linen wide leg pants and the 100% European linen tank that matches. They are the perfect mindless throw on and go to small group, record a podcast episode, coffee with a friend, or chase the boys at the park. So comfortable, can be styled so easily, and give a chic look with minimal effort, especially when you add a Quince sweater. Get cozy in Quince's high-quality wardrobe essentials. Go to quince.com/realtalk for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/realtalk to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/realtalk. Welcome to Real Talk with Rachel Autry, where I invite you to join me to delight in life and find joy right where you are. Today, we are talking with Kate Strickler from Naptime Kitchen. She is amazing, one of my heroes online, and I learned so many things from her. She's going to talk today about practicals, making your life functional and not being obsessive about the beauty of it, which I think is a message we all need to hear. You'll walk away with ideas that you can apply right after you listen to this episode. You'll probably have thoughts where you think, oh yeah, me too. All from two girls who are just trying to figure out life right alongside you, because that's what friends are for, right? It's time that we cut the fluff and have some real talk with Kate Strickler. Welcome, Kate. What we're talking about today, I feel like you're a true champion. You're a true hero and expert in my opinion. I've been following you for like 6 years, which is really fun. This is a full circle moment for me. I admire you because you are all things home, keeping things simple, switching it up, but also be okay with keeping it the same if it works for you. And I just got to honor you. I feel like you take the pressure off of what a lot of people online put pressure on. And you are the girl for my girls. And so I'm so grateful to have you here. If people are unfamiliar, I just want to give a spiel. I want to just like plug you for a moment. So this is Kate Strickler, everybody. Welcome, Kate. She is the girl behind, the woman behind, the mom behind, all the things behind Naptime Kitchen. Like I said, she just brings simplicity to it all, gives us an encouraging message, a good pep in our step, a good like kick on the rear to do it the way that we really know that we need to do it. And that's important as moms. Efficiency, right?
Yes.
So I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited that we could make it work again and go for it. So.
We're going to go for it. We're going to go hardcore. You've taught me a lot, and so I'm excited about all the things that we're going to release on Friends today. No pressure, obviously, to give us all your wisdom because all that can be found online. But I do have some questions because I said this before and I love saying it, but podcast girls are built different. Like the girls that listen to podcasts. First off, do you listen to podcasts?
I do. I don't listen to it like a million of them. I'm probably like, I listen to a few, or I'll like binge a series of some sort that like interests me.
Like a crime series?
No.
Or like some kind of docu-series?
Some sort of docu-series that like I just find interesting. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, you're one of us. Like we're the girls on the road trips where I'm like, I want to learn something. I want to be entertained.
Yes.
We love a good song and playlist, but the people that click play on our show specifically because we're kind of labeled self-help, they're the girls that are really excited and hungry to learn and grow and be challenged in different ways. So I give you the permission to challenge my friends today.
Okay.
So not that you needed
Watch out.
You do that. You do that so graciously anyways. But tell us a little bit about what life looks like for you right now, because it's ever changing, but just give us a good context to what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes. Okay. So, well, it's July as we record this. I don't know when it'll come out, but it's July.
It is hot.
It is hot. It is oppressive. And I know it is where you are too. Like you just understand it's a different level of just swampy feeling. I kind of in this month just kind of decide, I call it Charleston winter. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to spend a good amount of time indoors. And when the people in Minnesota are spending time indoors, I will be outside. I was like, I will thrive in January, but July is just kind of my time to be inside a lot. And so once I kind of make that mental shift of like, July and August is just so hot, really honestly into September. September is kind of my least favorite in Charleston. I call it second August because it's just, it just continues to be hot.
It does,
But I'm like, you know what? We got a mild winter. And so it's just trade-offs. It's hard for Nate, especially because he's from Pennsylvania and he loves the cold. So he would love,
Nate.
He would love a harsh winter.
Not much cold at Charleston.
I know. He's like, it's just so hot. He's getting used to it, but it's hot just all around. So I'm actually off of social media this month. I just took the month of July off to like recalibrate, do some like back end long-term like thinking and planning and just be around my kids more because they are like all home the whole month of July. So I'm off and just kind of like doing a few family trips and cooking a lot. I'm cooking a lot right now. I tend to, when I have a lot of margin, it tends to like my creative outlet tends to overflow into cooking. So I've been doing a lot of that.
Well, that would make sense. Naptime Kitchen.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's my winter. It's my Charleston winter. So I'm just inside cooking.
Okay. You're inside a ton. What do you do besides cook inside? Like, how do you keep occupied? Because you have littles too. And I will tell you what, like there are like so many Pinterest activities out there. I think I'm accepted the fact I'm not a Pinterest mom. I think I'm okay with that. But like, what is there to do besides watch Cars or Monsters, Inc.?
Oh,
like
yeah, with the kids.
Times a week. Yes. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, we kind of have them on a little bit of a schedule, not anything specific. We traveled, like we were gone. They went to sail camp the first bit of summer. So like camp for sailing.
Epic.
And then we were gone for 2 weeks. And so really July was the first kind of moment of like, hey, we're home and can actually just kind of be bored for a little bit. And so at noon, that's when Alberta goes down for her nap. And the kids start quiet time and they have quiet time from noon to 1. And then after quiet time, they're allowed to watch from 1 to 2. And that kind of makes Alberta's nap time and their like time away from us all align. So that for like basically from 12 to 2, Nate and I really aren't being bothered too much. So like, I mean, from when you wake up until noon, you're just kind of like, make your own adventure. Like you got to figure out something.
That's right.
Like play inside, play outside, make a fort. The house is kind of a wreck every day, but I just kind of accepted that. Like a lot of fort building in the living room, just kind of stuff everywhere. And we just kind of live amongst it until the evening. And then they're at the age now where they can help me clean up. So I'm not like looking at things being like, oh my gosh, I have to clean all this, which is, I feel like such a feeling I remember when you have like a 2-year-old or a baby, or like, I'm going to be the one cleaning this up. And now it's like, hey man, make a mess because come 5 PM, you're cleaning this up. And they can do it, you know, like they can clean up their messes. So
I saw the funniest meme and it was like, jokes on you, Mom, for buying the play kitchen for your kids. But in reality, now you're cleaning 2 kitchens at it. And I'm like, yeah.
So true.
Yeah, that is it. That's my season right now. And like, I just want to point out something. What you just said, and even like that little short monologue of like what your summers at home look like, was full of wisdom. And that is so contagious because I think that there is a like there's 2 societies out here that I feel like in motherhood that exist, right? You have one side that is like, oh man, I want to say this right because it makes sense inside my brain. So like one side of it is just get to 5 o'clock so you can pour the glass of wine and tap out, just get through it. The other side of it is there's so much pressure to get it right that you almost you are operating at almost too high capacity. And I feel like this is why I admire you and your content. It's so refreshing for me, and it's an honor to have you today because you are the in-between that is like, look, I am more than this moment, but I want to be in this moment. And you do it well by saying like, here's our routine from 12 to 2. We can expect for this to work because it's what needs to work for our family. And you've taken inventory over your life. You've seen what works for you and what doesn't work for you. You haven't held it to anyone else's standards other than the Stricklers and what you guys need as a family to function. And you do it. And why do we make that so hard?
Yeah.
You know?
I know. It's true. I don't know. I think it's probably just a lot of just trying to measure up.
Did you feel like you ever got to a point where you're like, this is not working, we have to back up, figure this out, and reapproach? Or do you feel like it's almost just a gift that you're able to do that the way you do it now?
Yeah. I mean, well, every year has been different for sure. And so like years past in the summer, I mean, I have like pictures on my Instagram from years past where like our summer schedule would have been a lot more detailed, a lot more like with pictures on it of like from 9 to 10, we'll play outside. And from 10 to 11, we'll have a snack, even though snack time lasts like 6 minutes. And then you're like, oh no, I planned that for too long. But like a lot more planned of what our day looked like, mainly because my firstborn is very detail oriented, loves a schedule, wants to know what's happening, like wants to know the expectations for the day. And so he really needed like a visual of what was going to happen in the day. Even if it would just said like, from this time to this time is like fun activity. Maybe that means we go to the library. Sure. Maybe that means we go to the splash pad, but just to know that that was the time of day it was going to happen. He really needed an answer. And so that's kind of how I started making like visual schedules on Canva of just like what needs to happen or what was going to happen. So now they have like a visual little thing that just says like, make your bed, brush your teeth, change your clothes. And even change your clothes, we're pretty loose with in the summer. I'm like, if you want to wear pajamas all day, go for it, because this is your time to shine. But I would like you to brush your teeth and make your bed. So a lot of it has just come out of like necessity of what I'm feeling like is the pain point and what my kids are really asking for of me. But it has definitely changed. Like so much of what I really cared about when I had John Robert was 3 and Scout was 2 and Millie was a baby, because they were all really close in age, has changed so much now that we're kind of entering this slightly older kid phase. Like I still have Alberta, who's going to destroy everything, but I have a 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. And it really is like, I mean, I know the whole, like, babies don't keep snuggling while they're young, but golly, 8 is amazing. Like 8 is awesome.
That's what I've heard. Someone's like, make it to 7, like 7 and 8 are prime.
He still wants to snuggle. He's still like a boy, but they're
not awkward yet.
Not awkward yet.
You know?
But he can also like do the dishes if he needs to. Like it's just a great age.
God.
Yes.
So you're saying there's hope.
There's hope.
Because we're in the trenches.
Yes. And
you said something. You used a word, and I want to point it out. You said pain point.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. I think it's like taking the time to realize, every time Monday happens and I don't have groceries in my refrigerator, it's causing a trigger for our family. It's causing an argument between my husband and I, or, like figuring out pain point. Like, what is it that's not working for you? And then figuring out how to fix it.
Yeah.
Because chances are the problems you're having, they're repetition problems, or they are symptoms of a bigger problem. And that's what you do so well. So like, just give us a few rhythms, things. I know them, but I want you to be able to have the mic literally and tell us what are some things you have implemented in your life to truly like make it easier and to create more margin.
Great question. So well, first off, when our kids were younger, I will say that TV time was at 4:30 or 5 p.m. That was when they got to watch a show, because that was when they were like the most antsy for dinner, but they are not hungry if they're watching TV. Like it's like they're not begging me for dinner if
Magical,
the TV was on.
Right.
And then if they started watching at 5, then I really didn't care exactly what time Nate got home from work. If it was like 5:15 or 5:30 or 5:45 or 6, like within that hour, I kind of felt like I just had the ability to breathe and make dinner alone for a little bit, which I loved. And so that was kind of a pain point in that season where I was like, you know what? I really just want screen time to be at 5, because then I'm just like exhaling for a minute. And I'm not super like, Nate, where are you? What is your exact location at this moment? How many minutes till you get home? Like, I just felt like that was an ability
Find
to
my friends. Yes.
Yes.
Refresh. Yes.
So in that season, I feel like just trying to figure out, when do I feel the deepest need for a break? And my kids respond like just leeches to the television. Like they just love it. And so I was like, if I just plan that they're going to watch TV at the moment that I feel the deepest need for it, it's going to give me a break. I know not all kids are like that. Some kids are like bothering their parents while they watch TV. But mine, man, if you give them that television, they love it.
That's a gift.
Yeah, they're big fans of that. I think in our household, some of the biggest things we do, like, I mean, I feel like everybody's doing this now, but doing grocery ordering has been really, really huge. I personally really like Sunday morning. So our church starts a little bit later. So waking up and doing a very loose meal plan and a grocery order, because ours is usually same day. Like I can order them and pick them up the same day. Doing that on Sunday mornings. I know some people do it on like a Tuesday or Wednesday, but my rhythm is like Sunday to Saturday. And so if I can do that on a Sunday morning, I just feel like I look at the whole week and it kind of just helps me think through everything. Like I'm looking at the schedule for the week. Are we out any nights? Is there anything going on? So I just feel like even while I'm meal planning, I'm also just getting a handle on our week. That actually kind of happens during the meal planning of like, okay, what nights are going to be difficult or this and that. So that's just kind of like a 2-for-1. That's not like, I'm not like trying to get a handle on our week separate from meal planning. Those things are happening like in conjunction with each other. In my current phase of life.
Wait, I have to add to the meal planning, pasta Mondays.
Yes.
Like brilliant. Things like that you're like, okay, every Monday we will have pasta.
Yes.
And it can be ramen noodles.
Yeah.
Or it could be lasagna or whatever, but it's going to be pasta, and it helps narrow down a category from such a large menu, and like,
yes,
it's less overwhelming. So you're like, okay, pasta's Monday, and we can do spaghetti squash and call it pasta, but it's going to be pasta.
Yeah.
And we've adopted that. We don't do pasta on Mondays, but we've adopted okay, Fridays are our breakfast for dinner, and like we always order out Wednesday. Things like that.
Yeah.
Just so keeping it simple so that your brain doesn't have to start from square one every single time.
It really helps. Yeah, I feel like it definitely helps when you have to plug and play less, when you have a few that are set.
Yes.
This summer, we have had hot dogs once a week. I just have found that I actually like hot dogs. I used to not. But I am like, once a week, we're going to have hot dogs. And everybody likes it. And it's just like such an easy check off of a meal for us to have. So yeah, just like that, like pasta Mondays, hot dog once a week, pizza Friday, and then somewhere in there some healthier options as well. But.
Yeah, some veggies somewhere. Yeah,
some veggies in there.
We aim for one nourishing meal a day. That's all I tell myself.
Yeah, and then I feel like kind of a broader scope for what you're asking is, I think that what's happening for a lot of women online right now is Instagram is beautiful and I love it.
Sure.
But I think that Instagram can fall towards beauty over function. And when you're a mom, you really almost need function more than beauty. And it's wonderful when you can marry those things. But I think it's okay. Like, it's kind of like when you have a newborn, you have like a bottle warmer out, you have a breast pump out, you have a dish rack out that's just for all those bottle parts, you have a changing station in your living room. Like the whole house becomes so function focused, and nobody faults you for it. It's like, well, yeah, you're keeping like a 2-day-old baby alive. You just put things wherever you need them. And I feel like in that phase, that's how you're thinking. You're like, I am sleep deprived. I just need my house to function. And I think that we lose that a lot of times going out of that newborn phase, that you still, no matter what phase of your life, need your house to function. And I feel the tension deeply of beauty and function and trying to have them both work. But I think it's really important to recognize. It's funny, I actually had photos taken earlier this week for my blog, and I'm so excited about them. I think they're going to be great. And when they came over, we were like prepping because the photos were taken in my kitchen, and we were just clearing things out of my kitchen because that.
Well, same. I had stuff in laundry baskets that I was able to lug out. Yeah.
And I'm going to love these photos. These photos are going to be so beautiful. But let me tell you what, when the photographer was gone, I was putting that stuff back in my kitchen because that's how my kitchen functions. And I think when we see a lot of photos online, we're seeing beauty, but we're oftentimes not seeing the functionality. And so it's like you see someone's clear marble island, which is probably littered with the same like water bottles and homework and book bag and leftover dishes and nail, that yours is. It's just for the photo. It's not. And that's okay. I think it's okay that when we're doing these pretty photos, there are things that we want to clear out of them, but we have to be able to mentally tell ourselves like, that is beautiful, but it might not be functional. And so kind of
accurate. Yeah. Right.
Or accurate. And just allowing yourself to allow your spaces be functional, whatever that means for you, whatever phase of life you're in. If there's something that you're like, this would work really well if I just put it in the entryway, but I believe that my entryway should be spotless, I would be like, why don't you just put it in the entryway? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Thank you for that permission. And I will add, for the girls that are like, why do I have to choose? Sometimes you don't. Like, there are the moments where you can find the intersection of beauty and function. For example, I found this $60 beautiful antique secretary on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm okay to brag about it because I am pumped. And we just put it in our entryway, and it has like cabinet doors and all the things, and it's pretty. Yeah. But you can hide stuff in it. I'm like, don't open the cabinets.
Yes.
But it's cute to look at. So again, beauty and function. Or like we really needed to keep all of our shoes and socks downstairs, not in our dresser upstairs where we were taught to keep our stuff, because that's what works for our family, because we put our shoes on and take them off downstairs. Right. So it's things like that. You almost have to just figure out your pain points, your rhythms, what works for you and what doesn't, and doing it differently, being okay to do it differently than someone else, but then also losing the guilt. And I think that that's something you're speaking to too, is like the guilt and the shame that can come from your life looking different than someone else's.
Yeah. And I think there's the joy in the find for you and for so many is if you start with function and you're like, how do I need this to function? And then you can go on the hunt for something beautiful that meets that function. And I had a similar experience where we found a chest for our entryway. And I was like, I need this thing to have lots of drawers. I'm hiding like bug spray and baseball hats in this thing, but it's beautiful.
Yeah. Sunscreen, all the things.
Yeah. Right. But it was like, I think for like 2 years, I didn't have that. And it was like, it was okay. And then to find that piece, I was like, oh, this is so great. This is going to work so well. But the function happened first versus like, let me try and somehow find only beautiful pieces that just leave us frustrated and with stuff all over our house.
Yeah. I mentioned this in our first recording, LOL. So I wanted to mention it again. But you said something along the lines of, like, you kind of dismantled this idea of organization, about how, like, you made a reel, I think.
Oh, yeah.
How there's the people that have the containers in the containers for other containers, and then they're all labeled and all the things, and it's almost like over-functioning.
Yes.
So how does someone know that, like, this is functioning, this works for me, or this seems functional and I want it to be functional, or it doesn't work? Like, how can someone know, like, yeah, this is a pain point or it doesn't work for me? For someone that loves this conversation, but like practically needs a big sis just to help point it out.
Yeah. I mean, I always say if you're thinking about a space and wanting it to like feel more organized, I just would say, like, if you're ordering things off Amazon, I know it is not pretty, but I would just start with like shoe boxes or an Amazon package box or anything to just make categories before you go buy stuff. Like, I would be like, just see if having bins in that cabinet really makes your life easier. And then I think it's like a time analysis thing as well. Like, if you like decanting all of your different things into different bins, if that brings you joy, I think you should do it. I think if you're doing it because you just feel like you're supposed to, and you're spending all this time, and then you still have like some left over because you bought the Costco bag, and then you're like frustrated, then I wouldn't do it. Like, I would be like, it might take some trial and error, but
Yes.
I like personally, my family does not do great with closing bags. And that is a pain point for me. And so we have a few like larger Tupperwares where like if I buy a bag of pretzels, I want to switch them into a Tupperware because I think they're going to last longer in that Tupperware. But I have a lot of friends that are like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to close the bag of pretzels. Like we're just going to eat them out of the bag of pretzels.
Chip bag.
Yes.
Yeah. Or clip.
Yes.
Strip clip.
And
whatever.
that is 100% a preference thing. I do not have a lot of like clear bins in my refrigerator to organize things because namely my fridge, I feel like is seasonally changing so much. I don't see like us having like a specific bin for pouches and a specific bin for like LaCroix and all of that. Like some people love it, you know, some people love that level of organization. So I would say like, if you're doing it and it is bringing you like a lot of joy and it is helping the functionality of your home, then you've probably made a great choice. But if you're doing it and you're like, ugh, this bin is in the way and we don't even use that anymore. And it's just like causing you stress, then I think you're trying to, organization should not make your life more stressful. So
yes,
if it's making your life more stressful, it's probably not the right system for you. And so, I mean, this is like known on Naptime Kitchen, but like if you open my top drawer in my bathroom, that's like my makeup drawer. I use shoebox lids for my makeup products. I've thought about switching them, but I'm like, these are working great.
They're perfect. They're shallow. They fit in a weird, cool Tetris. Yeah, I've seen it. It works for you.
And I'm like, I just don't really feel a need to change this to clear acrylic bins. I just don't. But in my medicine cabinet, I was using shoe boxes for a really long time. Loved them. They were working great. But at like 3 a.m., I was like, sometimes I can't find the medicine I'm looking for. And I wish I had a clear bin where you can like kind of go like look up at it and like see your different, just see the medicines from all angles.
So good.
Like, if you're looking for something. So those bins, I went and I purchased the pretty clear acrylic bins. Because I was like, I think in this area, this would be more functional for me. And I would like that. I waited a while. I used shoe boxes. But I think just like noticing what's actually bothering you, what do you actually want to change in your home versus like, I'm going to go out and buy all new baskets for my linen closet because that's what I think I'm supposed to do.
Real Talk with Rach is brought to you by our friends over at Stanley, the drinkware brand that's there for you in all your adventures so you can make the most of your world, whether you're scaling a mountain or watching your littles climb a tree in your own backyard. One of my favorite Stanleys to grab on the go is their Ice Flow Flip Straw Tumbler. They come in 30-ounce and 20-ounce size, and that means they are perfect for any occasion because they are leak-proof, and all the mamas said amen. I grabbed the Ice Flow when we are headed out for the day of adventures, whether it be a play date at the park, trip at the zoo, or even out to our local airport to watch the planes fly by. With double wall stainless steel insulation, they keep our drinks extra cold for 12 hours. And I'm not even kidding you, ice has stayed in those cups for 2 days for me. I also love the little handle at the top to carry them around. It's seriously so cute to watch Maddox carry around his little Stanley for all of his adventures too. Visit Stanley1913.com and use the code Rachel20 to save 20% off your Ice Flow and other favorite Stanley products today. That's Stanley1913.com. Yes, and that answer to that question is going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where uniqueness and being okay with things looking different than everybody else is important, or else you're going to end up redoing it anyways. And you can't follow trends with function. Because again, like your kids are going to grow up, you're going to need different things. You might get a job, you might move, things are going to be different. And that's what we've learned with our lifestyle. I will just say this. I want to admit, I am the girl, Kate, that like we moved into this new house about a year ago. Was so excited. We just finished military training and I just was ready to nest. Plus, I was in my second trimester. So I was like taking it into gear. Mm-hmm. I felt good. And, Target was having this big sale on their clear containers, and we just got this beautiful IKEA console thing for our playroom. And I was like, I'm going to organize all of our toys. Our Toy Story toys will have their own little thing, and Magnet tiles will have their own little thing. Like all these things. Do they stay organized 1 year later? No. And I bought $40 Etsy download and got it printed out so that I had labels for all the boxes. That doesn't serve me well because now I am put in the pressure of every night at 7 when the kids are finally put down to organize them into every single bin instead of just throwing them all in the console. My boys are 2 and 7 months. Like, they don't even know how to read the boxes.
Yeah.
And our babysitters, like, bless them, are trying their hardest to organize. And every time I have a babysitter, she's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't organize them the way that they're supposed to be. And I'm like, girl, me neither. So, like, why did I do that? It's because, honestly, I saw a TikTok and she said that's how I was supposed to do it. And I tried it and it doesn't work. So here I am literally using, like you said, Amazon boxes in this console, and it works. So, okay, now I know I can actually go out and invest in maybe a cuter box because this is what works. So I love that. And I think the big question here is what serves you.
Yeah.
Because I do have friends where they mentally, like, they really do, in order to thrive, they do need the Etsy printout and the containers and all the things. And it doesn't serve me well. Mm-hmm. So again, do you live your best life?
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So good. Did you grow up with a mom that like taught you how to do this? Or, because I think this is something cool you do online too. Like, you teach us a lot of really cool things. That my mom's amazing. We love you, Teresa. I know she's going to listen to this. But, like, she didn't teach me some of the things you're teaching me, probably just because we were a chaotic bunch of kids. But did your mom teach you these things, or you feel like you're just inclined now?
In the kitchen, definitely. Like, so much of what I share on Instagram is just, I tell my mom, I'm like, I'm just ripping you off left and right on the internet. So much
You'll get a cut of everything.
Yeah, so much of like the way that I function in the kitchen is definitely because of my mom. Like, she just was very efficient with her time in the kitchen. So I'm one of 4. And I don't remember her being like hyper organized when we were kids, but everything had a place. Like, our house was clean, but I don't remember. It's funny. I just don't think organization was what it was. What it is now is not what it was when, like, our parents were raising us. I don't know what we were using, but there was no like clear acrylic bins for everything or anything like that. But efficiency wise, she taught me like so much in the kitchen of just like using ingredients well, freezing, everything like that. Like, everything that I kind of repurpose and teach on Naptime Kitchen, so much of that came from her.
I love that.
Yeah. I think too, we just probably had, because there were 4 of us, I think there was a higher level of responsibility of just like, you have to clean that up. You have to do that. And I've noticed that with my own kids. I think that the level of ownership that they have to take is higher, because I'm just like, I just can't do that right now. So you have to go clean up your mess or put away your shoes or whatever, because I'm dealing with somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. I'm like, we are now a society, our little family.
Yes.
We got to figure out how we're going to best coexist and love one another and serve each other. And it takes these things. It takes figuring out your pain points, or else everyone's stressed. No one has boundaries. People are confused where your shoes are supposed to go. And then the expectations aren't clear. Like, it just is a little bit of a cluster. And so, like, what happens if you bring clarity to these things by just taking a day, a weekend, or whatever, a moment just to say and ask your person you're doing life with, whether it's a roommate or your spouse, and be like, what works well?
Yeah.
What's not working well? Being okay with whatever answer you get.
Yeah.
It would be a cool step forward.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, probably 10 times a day, I'm telling somebody to put their shoes in their shoe bin, or like asking, like, have you brushed your teeth? So they're not like perfect little soldiers by any means, but it's just at least the like rails are there to try and guide us for these like basic things.
Yes. Like, your home probably feels super safe because they know, like, when you say go put your shoes away, they're not like, where?
Yeah.
You know? Or if you're like, okay, go brush your teeth, they're like, oh yeah. It's more of a reminder than like you literally having to keep them alive still at 8 years old.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool what you're teaching them as far as responsibility. And I would love that for my boys too one day. And I know people listening would too. You are the big sister we needed to join us. This has been awesome. Okay, rapid fire questions, because I have a few.
Yes.
We have a lot of really different pockets of people that listen to episodes. All women, typically, big faith-based community, but different seasons. So because you've walked through a lot of them and you have really good like shortcuts, tips, tricks, just like first thing to come to your mind for each of these little seasons.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you a scenario. You tell me what she probably needs to hear.
Okay.
Okay. Big sis advice. So someone's getting married, girl's getting married. She's really stressed out about her registry. top 3 things that need to be on her registry. Go. Kitchen specific.
Okay.
We'll stay there.
A good set of knives, a good set of pans. By good, I just mean like a quality set. I don't think it means it has to cost $800.
Sure.
And whatever the one kitchen appliance is that would make her giddy to open. So whether that's like a really nice blender or a really nice mixer or a really nice like crock pot, like, because I don't know what she likes to cook, but I just think like if there's one thing that would just make her like so excited, like that thing when you see someone has purchased it, you're like, ew. But I think knives and pans are what you're probably really going to use the most.
That's so good. Oh, yeah. I'm going to ask you later what your favorites are, and we'll link them all in the show notes for people that don't know where to start. Okay. Someone who is newly pregnant, making their baby registry. Top 3 baby stuff that you love, that you remember using over and over. Go.
Definitely the Ergo baby carrier. I just like always, I have like one that's like 10 years old that was passed down to me and it's like still being used. I just think they're
legit.
They're awesome. And I would say I really like our Pack and Play. We have a 4 Moms brand and it's just a little bit bigger than like your classic Pack and Play. And so I just feel like they can stay in it a little bit longer than your classic Pack and Play. Like it's just a little bit taller on the sides and a little bit larger. So I really like our Pack and Play.
For ninja babies that seem to escape. Yeah, we love that.
Yeah. And I mean, mine's 8 years old. Like it's been through 4 kids and it's still just trucking right along. And then, gosh, there's so many baby things that are like, I don't think you're going to use that.
I know what's so funny isn't it going to change? I bet you from the first kid to Alberta, you've like you use different stuff because new stuff exists.
Yeah. And I really liked our baby bath. I liked our Angel Care baby bath. Again, lasted through all 4 kids. It has like holes in it. And then Hack, I showed this on my Instagram, but if you flip it over, you can then sit the baby in it when they're like out of the baby phase, but you still want them to have like slight guardrails in the bathtub, like from falling over, like they're like 7-8 months old kind of thing. You can just flip
or to
it over.
Protect you from their 2-year-old brother.
Yes. Yeah. So I love that. I will say I registered because John Robert is 8. I registered like before baby gear got sexy. I registered at Babies R Us with a gun, like with the little laser gun.
I love it.
So like Babies R Us is out of business. Like nobody's registering in person anymore. It's like, but so much of my baby gear was Fisher Price and it is awesome. I'm just, if anybody just kind of needs that, like, you're like looking at all this baby gear and everything is like beautiful and expensive and organic and like made from like elven wood. My Fisher Price stuff has been awesome. And I'm not saying you can't buy the nice stuff. I think if it's something that you want to buy, I think you definitely should. But if you're feeling kind of like, oh man, well, it's like, this one's like $100 less expensive, but it's like bright red and Fisher Price, I would be like, man, I probably own it. I probably have it and it's working fine. So I mean, a lot, because, at this point, most of my baby stuff has gone through 4 children. And is just still kicking, which is amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. You go, girl. You did it right.
So
congrats.
Yeah. It's like the not sexy brands, like Fisher Price, Graco, just things like that. It's like, I think they just know what they're doing. They've been doing it a long time and they know what they're doing.
Listen, function over beauty, Kate. Function over beauty. Your rules, not mine.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, one more. Somebody just like wants for their home to feel like a home. And they also want it to be functional, but like what's a good, or even if you come to your mind, just like, hey, you can do this right now after this episode ends to just help the feng shui of your home?
I would say I would probably start with your entryway into your house and just ask, is there anything that I really wish was here? And is there anything that lives here that does not need to be in the entryway to my home? Like, I'm kind of like, entryway is like very prime. Like, what do you need to grab before you leave? And what are you putting away? Like, your Thanksgiving decorations should not be in your entryway closet. If it was me, unless that's like, well, that's just the only place it's going to be able to go. But,
that's fair. Mm-hmm.
And then I would I think that I learned this from Michael Smith, who is the nester on Instagram, but she talks a lot.
We have had her on the show. We are obsessed with her.
She is wonderful, but she talks a lot about like decorating your home through the five senses and how there is a lot of things you can do to decorate that won't take up any real estate in your house. And so I rely very heavily on music and scent in our house. And those two things I feel like can change a space on a dime. Like if it is a rainy morning and I go in and like light a candle, or we really use a Pura mostly, and I love the Pura, I love Pura. Be like, Alexa, play peaceful piano. The mood in our room changes so quickly. And I haven't brought anything out. Like it's just, those things are free for your space.
Nothing genius. Exactly. Just free and basic. And we love it.
So I feel like scent and sound are huge in our house. And I feel like my kids respond really, really heavily to sound, especially like the type of music I choose to play in the morning, which isn't always the same, but I feel like it really helps their mood. Like if I'm choosing to play certain music. So like, even if you go into your kitchen right now and it's messy, but you can play like, I don't know, your favorite artist or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that can like paint. It's almost like if you think about a reel and think about the reel without sound. And then when you play the sound, it's so much more like, oh, this reel's like so much better. I think that's kind of like our life. Like when there's like music painted through
the soundtrack.
It. Yeah. It makes such a difference. So I have like playlists that are very specific to the need of the hour in our household.
I love that. Chill jazz, almost on constant replay. It feels like Hobby Lobby in our home when we need it to, and it's beautiful.
It is.
I'm like, this is what we need.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what a difference it can make.
I want to add one more to the home thing because this is something I feel like you do well and I've seen and just does change the game, is finding pieces with stories rather than just like finding something to fill a space. So like we were saying earlier, just like being patient and waiting for that magical spot and that magical piece for the place that you are finding the void for. Huge. Adding pictures of your family or people that you love to your home, I think also can make things just feel a little bit more lovely. Yeah.
Yes.
Just stories. Like adding story. It's people call it a vibe. I'm like, it's just the overall vibe of your home.
Yeah.
Not what you have, but why it's there.
Yeah.
That's important.
And I think if you can accept that it is in your home is like in transition always, like it's not alive. Like it's not, it's not like physically alive, but it is growing and changing and it's in process the same way that you are, that I just think it makes it a lot more fun. Like I'll change things in my kitchen all the time. I'll change where things are. I'll change just sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in a season that I'm really overwhelmed. I need everything I can possibly get off of the kitchen counters. And then it'll be like fall and it's like getting kind of cold. And I'm like bringing out extra things on the counter and I'm just like changing the feel and the aesthetic. And I'm like, well, that's your home in process. You do not have to decide tomorrow what your drawers are going to look like for the next 6 years. Like you can kind of allow that in process to happen and move things or make a mistake or, paint a room the wrong color, whatever it is. I just think you can have a lot of joy when you're not stamping this, this is the finished product. This has to be the end, or this has to be completed today on your home.
That's right. You're allowed to change your mind.
Yeah. Because
the bigger question we keep saying is what serves you right now?
Yeah.
What serves you best right now? And if that's having a blue wall, girl, go paint it blue.
Yeah.
Primer exists. You can always paint over. Do it. Live your best life. I love that. Okay, my favorite question to ask, honestly, and we'll end with this. What is something you love that you have to share with our friends listening right now? It could be anything. Recipe, playlist, hack, product.
Yeah.
You feel it in.
So during the month of July, like I said, I've been off social media, and so I've had a little bit more margin. And so I actually love, I don't know if you follow What's Gabi Cooking on Instagram, but I really, really I feel like I can kind of pretty quickly be like, okay, I'm saving a lot of recipes from this person. This person's culinary aesthetic matches with mine. And then there's other people that I'm like, I don't cook the same way as that person, just the cuisine. Yeah. She's probably heavily Mediterranean and Italian food. There's a lot of pastas on there, which I always love. But
obviously you love, yeah.
I bought her cookbook and have just been cooking my way through it, like put tabs in it. I made her Nutella pie. I've made like multiple of her pasta dishes. And the Nutella pie, it was like I made the crust from scratch. It was Oreo crust. I mean, I had to like process Oreos. No. Don't think too
My
highly.
mouth's watering.
But
I'm hungry.
I have just loved having like a cookbook and just really choosing like one cookbook and just kind of going through it and picking out recipes from it. And so it has brought me like a lot of joy to just let somebody else tell me what to make and like look at the pretty pictures. Right. So it's called Make It Easy. I might have that wrong, but it's the newest cookbook.
We'll link it in our show notes.
Yeah, it's from Gabi Dalkin. What's Gabi Cooking? So it's great. Yeah.
Kate, you are a champ. You are our hero around here. When we were able to get you on the show, we squealed. We just need you to know that. Like, we think the most high things about you. To be able to spend some time with you today and like be a messenger of your wisdom and just like ask you the questions I know everybody's asking has been a whole thing for me. It made my week. I'm so glad we can make it happen again and recover from last time. I want you to be able to share. I know you have a lot of things going on. I know you have a lot of exciting things to announce, and I want you to do that on your own time when you are ready. But will you tell people where they can find you in the meantime so they can be there when you do share all the fun stuff?
Yes. And first off, thank you so much for having me. This has been great. I could talk about this stuff all day. I could talk about it until your people's earbuds die.
You're good at it.
Well, I enjoy it. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm Naptime Kitchen. So my Instagram is Naptime Kitchen, all one word. And my blog is naptimekitchen.com. So, and then I talk a lot about like home specifically and have like a course on just home management, home decluttering, like loving your home, making your home serve you. And that's the Home Reset, and it's just homereset.com. But you can find it all at Naptime Kitchen. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you're amazing. Thank you again so much. We're going to link all the things we talked about today in our show notes if people want to follow you or make something you mentioned or buy something you mentioned or whatever. We'll have it all there for you. All right. You're amazing.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening to another episode with us. It would mean the most if you took 30 seconds and left us a 5-star review in whatever platform that you're listening in right now. It's one of the best and free ways that you can love on us. So don't forget that anything we mention in today's episode, from resources, products, and more, can all be found in our show notes at realtalkwithrachel.com. For more updates, behind the scenes, and fun chats, head over to Instagram and follow us at Real Talk Podcast.
Are you single and navigating the complex world of dating as a Christian? Well, I want you to know you're not alone. I'm Kate.
And I'm JJ.
And together we host the Heart of Dating podcast.
We're here to unmask the ambiguity of dating and help you build a healthy approach to find your person.
Each episode, we tackle tough questions and provide real, relatable advice you won't find anywhere else. And guess what? We hold nothing back.
Yeah, that's right. From heartbreak to hope to real life stories from our listeners, we literally cover it all, bringing you wisdom and insights and sometimes laughter that everyone needs to thrive in any relationship.
Whether you're single or you're in a relationship, you'll find community and support within the Heart of Dating podcast.
So we're inviting you to join the conversation that's changing the ways that Christians date.
Literally, if you want to make dating better, come join us. Let's do this together.
You can subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or
find us on Instagram or on YouTube, Heart of Dating, and you can visit our website to learn more at heartofdating.com.
Hey friends, this is Annie F. Downs from the That Sounds Fun podcast, and I want to invite you to join us as we go through our Advent study starting on December 1st. I love Advent, but when it rolls around every year, the theme that always leads the way is waiting. But if I'm honest with you, how am I supposed to level up my excitement and joy around waiting when it feels like waiting is my whole year? This is how we landed on this year's Advent theme. Stay tuned, an Advent series for those already waiting. It's time for us to talk about the unique challenge of entering the holiday season without your prayers answered and with your hope on the line. Stay Tuned is for anyone who is waiting for God to answer their prayers, but there is specific attention and heart in this study for our friends who are not married today, like me. Join us for this 3-week study, December 1st to 24th. Stay Tuned includes brand new daily devotionals each weekday, available in audio, video, and written form, and a robust Stay Tuned guidebook that includes journaling, questions, scripture, and so much more. Grab your copy of Stay Tuned and join us at anniefdowns.com/Advent.